Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today we're going to be redeeming ourselves by redoing the Solidworks Pully project. So for those who don't know, which is pretty much everybody at this point, the Solidworks Pully project was a series of videos I did on my other channel back in late 2020 to early 2021. It was a small project where I modeled a pulley in Solidworks to be 3D printed. Unfortunately, when we got to the 3D printing part, I broke the wheel when trying to remove the supports. And the entire print took about 15 hours, and by then I was just exhausted and decided to not reprint the wheel at all. So fast forward to today, where I have a much faster 3D printer in the form of the Bamboo Lab X1 Carbon, as well as much more knowledge in 3D printing. I'm very confident that I could complete the project in one video instead of splitting it up in multiple parts. And hopefully this video is not 30 minutes long. I'm hoping to make it less than that. So to get us started, let's just go over the ground rules of the original project, which we're going to be following in this one. The entire pulley had to be 3D printed. That means I couldn't use any screws, glue, or dowel pins. I mean, if I could 3D print a screw or some form of dowel pin, that's fair game, but nothing outside of 3D printing. And also, it has to be able to spin. So I actually don't have any of the original files, so I'm basically going to be remaking them in this video. So the first part I decided to work on was the wheel. So the wheel for this one is a little smaller than the original project's wheel. This one is a 2-inch diameter. I think that one was a 3, maybe 4-inch diameter wheel. So after designing the shape and size of the pulley, decided to put the holes in the face of it, put 8 holes around the hub of the wheel, cuts down on plastic. Not sure if it has any other benefit besides that, but that's what the original project had, and that's what I'm going to put on here. Next, I worked on the stand. Now the stand is a very simple bracket looking part with a base plate and 2 right angle protrusions coming out to hold the axle and wheel in, and then there's triangular gussets going up to hold it in place. The base plate also has 2 holes in it to be mounted to things. After designing the stand, I moved on to the axle, which is a very simple design. It's just a tube with an end cap, and after that I went to the last part, which is the retention pin, which is just a small cylinder attached to an end cap. So to model all these parts, it only took about an hour, but that's probably because I already designed this thing back then and always kind of lingered in my mind, so it didn't take too long. So after the designs were complete, made a quick assembly to make sure all the parts looked okay, and after that exported all of them to step files and imported them to the Bamboo Studio. So after I positioned all the parts and added supports, I sliced it and sent it over to the printer, and it took about an hour to print the initial print. After it finished printing, I took all the parts off of the build plate and I broke the retention pin. The retention pin just snapped clean off. And also the supports on the wheel were kind of just ruined it. So after that, I decided to reprint the wheel with using the tree supports and I'd make a new retention pin with no changes. In the case of the wheel, the tree supports did do better, and it came off a lot cleaner. However, the retention pin still snapped. This time, rather than removing it from the build plate, it snapped when I tried to install it. So I decided to make the hole in the axle bigger. This also made the walls a lot thinner. So when I decided to print it, I don't think the printer liked how thin they were, so it warped. And it was so bad that the axle had a much larger diameter than what the model had. And after printing it twice to figure out what was wrong with it and breaking the original stand, I decided to just go back to the original designs, but instead of making the retention pin long, cut it to about half of its original length and adjust the sizes to make it fit a little bit nicer. And after that, it worked just fine. So after that success, I went out and printed out another pulley in a little bit of higher resolution, and about 2 hours later, we have this very nice pulley here. I think it turned out pretty good. It spins, pretty easy to assemble, and makes a nice little desk toy. So that will be the end of this project and this video. Comment your thoughts about it down below. Also, let me know what else you want to see on the channel. Be sure to check out my other videos. I'll have one linked at the end of the video that YouTube recommends. As always, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.